All right, 3 weeks out from the Boston Marathon. It's coming up. It's April 1st today. Training's been going. There's been some complications. Complications arise. It always happens. Things don't go exactly to plan, and that's okay. As a higher running coach, experienced Hoka athlete, any service, any distance, and having run the Boston Marathon, as well as a lot of road marathons over the years and ultras, it's sometimes there's variables out of your control. You can't dwell on things out of your control. Things like the weather. I'm trying to do all these little extra things in training, strength training, which will be the focus of this talk. But, it's been super, super windy, even for Colorado spring standards. Thankfully, there's been a lot of days where there's not been a ton of snow and ice on the path. So I could get in some speed work, but then there's like these 40 mile an hour, 60 kilometer per hour winds out there that hamper my pace and leg turnover, which is the real key for me. For most people, I'd say put in the effort, don't worry about it. But for me, sometimes I'm like, gosh, training at altitude, especially after my pulmonary embolism, lung breathing issues, getting up that higher intensity after having a base of ultras is almost more important than just doing easy zone 2 training or just getting in heart rate efforts at slower paces. The leg muscles need to know the velocity you're running at with the stride extension and the power in your stride. And that's why we talk about strength training is the focus of this video. And you see, I've been doing the speed workouts. I've shortened some reps. I've been going to the track. I've been doing some hill workouts, hill reps, some downhill targeted workouts for leg turnover. Boston's very hilly with the big downhill start, as you know, and weather could be anything. It could be hot with a headwind or tailwind. It could be freezing cold and snowing or raining. So Boston, you got to adapt to the conditions, not always just going by strict time, but kind of have that, hopefully sub 230, 225-ish, 228 range in there, maybe not. But giving that, I've also been skiing quite a bit. I love skiing. Not gonna lie there. I incorporated into my training some easy touring at altitude. It works the glute muscles. In my last episode, you saw we did that ski training or that ski race, the Gothic Mountain Tour. But I might go up there today. We got 6 inches of powder on the divide, but it's pretty stormy and cold and windy out today, but also some really hot sunny days, so getting in heat training. But back to the musculature, as I get older, especially as I approach master's age running, I've noticed, the strength training is real key to address any muscle imbalances you may have, weaknesses that may develop over time that you didn't have when you were younger, but also just to, naturally boost testosterone levels, also work on that range of mobility. So it's about flexibility, but also developing strength and resilience and dealing with running faster and still preserving spring-like power in your stride, right? I can't sprint quite as fast as I could when I was 20 years old or even as a teenager when I ran competitive track or Division I college track. The VO2 max drops with age, so how do you overcome that? Well, you could put in a lot of power to help your running economy or efficiency still. And that's why I do these strength training exercises, which we'll get into the heart of this video. But, even some uphill treadmill work, the downhill running, the quad pounding, super important, mainly from my leg turnover. But to preserve that stride length, you need that power. So, working up from the feet, explosive strength. Actually, we'll go into it. I'll show you some of my routine. Big thanks to Sportneer. This is a mid-roll ad, so to speak, but really do believe in the strength training and using a weight vest for some of these exercises, as well as general strength for distance runners, especially if you're older marathon runner, ultramarathon runner. Super important for injury prevention, but also ironing in your form and technique. So let's flip the page and I'll show you. We'll go to the weight room. All right, before we get started, a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Sportneer adjustable weight vest. Thanks to them for, of course, comping me with this product. And again, this is a paid product promotion ad. It's full disclaimer there, but you can check out the product in the link below. I'll show you how I utilize a weight vest with my strength training routine for the marathons, for the Boston Marathon. It's got a great Velcro strap that you could adjust for different sizes, as well as on the shoulder here, adjustable straps, easy to pull on. There's also a Velcro underneath here with different levels you could adjust. And of course, zipper front for easy taking on and off. It's really nice to have that zipper and a material that's very athletic feeling. I'm wearing it shirtless. If you're drenched in sweat, it's going to help with any sort of moisture you have out running in the evening or dawn. There's also a reflective strip on the back here. And then in the center, you notice there's a 1 pound weight adjustment, as well as most of these are 2 pound bags up here. So you could take those out, adjust the different weights. I actually have 2 of these vests. It's a lighter one that goes up to 18 pounds, but they're also adjustable. The other one, the bigger one, which I'll show you for more advanced, powerful athletes, probably have to work up to, goes up to 40 pounds. I'll put that in kilograms there. All right, so let's get into some routines. Specific strength training for marathon runners, distance runners, all around fitness to build up some of those weak spots that I found in my kinetic chain. Let's get started. So obviously the weight vest, just doing body weight squats. Of course, this is more than just my body weight because I have the weight vest on, but it's nice even distribution of the weight. You can see my mobility is pretty bad, so it's good for me to work on my squat form in a more controlled environment where I could say, okay, I've got limited hip mobility, limited ankle flexion. You see, I have trouble getting down more than 90 degrees. Could actually elevate my heels a bit better to get into a deeper squat without having to worry about leaning backwards or falling backwards because my ankle mobility is so limited. So, you also want to be cognizant of your knee wobble, right? We're looking at these knees here. If I'm looking at you head on, we don't want to be collapsing in, bowing in at the knees with a lot of these lifts. You don't need to be bowed too far outward necessarily, but the knee wobble shows some weakness and shows some instability. And what we're really working on, especially when we're running, foot to foot, right? 1 foot, 1 foot, this is more like skiing cross country, is being able to support our body weight under load, under 1 foot. So, forward single leg deadlift or balancing on 1 foot with a hip hinge. How's that knee wobbling? My knee wobbles a lot because I'm weak in the glutes. So supporting that, these kinds of exercises with balance, really key. But for that glute activation, that butt muscle is really a key stabilizer. And again, with running forces, single leg movement, it's a lot like skiing. I've learned you're supporting your whole body weight 1 leg at a time. So having that chain be super strong in different ankle flexion, hip flexion, knee flexion is really key always. All right, we got special guest, Coach Sandy, actually a certified strength coach, but of course, coach at higher running, extensive ultra experience, but getting into the strength things. What do you think about the weight vest? We have a couple pairs, so we got one for you too.
I think it can be useful in some instances.
So I was doing some squats and I had to elevate my heels because I have such bad ankle mobility. You think that's good form to do like this?
Yeah, the big thing is just making sure feet are straight and then you point your knees towards your second toe. You don't want your knees giving in.
Because I was talking about the knee wobble. So second toe, that's a good alignment type of thing, right?
Work on that hip hinge.
Hip hinge back, yeah. Okay, and good to do with the weighted vest also, right?
Yeah, that's certainly an exercise that would be fine with the weighted vest.
Other variations I've been shown, and we'll show this in the video, is the Bulgarian split squat. So, elevating 1 leg up. I'm not sure if I'm in the frame here, but we do have the box there, and then squatting down. You could critique my form. If you're looking at that, what do you think? Ooh, I'm wobbling.
Yeah,
I'm wobbling.
Keep your big toe down. Yeah, so with this, if you lean forward a little bit more, your weight is up to target your glutes a little bit more, especially glute max. If you stand a little bit straighter, that's going to focus on your quad more. But this is one of the exercises that was studied, comparing the best glute exercises. And for glute max, the split squat was one of the best exercises you can do. So I'm a big fan of it for runners.
How's that looking, Coach?
That looks good.
All right. Yeah, and with the weight vest on, I do a lot less reps. I can only do 10 or 12 reps. Without the weight vest, or just pure body weight, it's more like 15, 16 reps each leg. So it makes a difference with the resistance.
Yeah, it's also a good option. Like if you can go really heavy and you typically have weights in your hands, if you don't want your arms to get tired or your hands to get tired first, it's a good way to add weight.
All right, so final thing in my routine, I do calf raises, elevated calf raises. Of course, my plantar flexion is very limited, ankle mobility, but I think it's been like that my whole career. Still trying to activate that calf muscle, that springiness with the gastrocnemius, soleus. We're talking about earlier today about skipping at the track again, doing explosive jumps, but I know you've gotten into plyometrics. What should I do there? I'm not going to do that 3 weeks out from Boston, but for future reference, I know some people are into the jumping, more explosive movements. You've been doing some of that. What's your thought on that, plyometrics for runners?
I think plyometrics can be great. What I think most people fall into a trap to is that they do way too much too soon. For a lot of people, just jump roping is going to be like a good start the first week, even just like a minute of jump roping. Like a couple times a week, that's going to be plenty. But a lot of times people find all these plyometric exercises and they want to do every single one after not doing it for a while, and that gets people into trouble.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an injury risk for all these things, especially if you're trying to lift really heavy weight with bad form, or you're getting into jumping all around with bad form, landing wrong. You could jack something up, or you need to warm up before you get into these weight exercises and build up that resistance strength. So good tip with the jump roping. Check out Sandy's channel at Running Wild. Sandy and I favor, give her a follow. Link in social media all across the internet. Thank you, Coach Sandy. So the application of using something like the Sportneer adjustable weight vest in your marathon training is the idea that you want more resistance than just your body weight. So maybe you start out with body weight exercises, you need to get to that next level, and to start off, maybe you're only putting in 4, 6, or 8 pounds in the vest, but as you work your way up, it is going to be relative to how much strength you could gain, how many reps you want to do per exercise, how much resistance you want, but also maybe your body weight size. So that's why coming in 2 different configurations, if you're a bigger athlete, bigger guy, 10 pounds is a smaller percentage of your body weight, whereas if you're a lighter person, 10% of your body weight might be a bit less. So, starting from the lower end and then progressively loading the adjustable weight vests with more and more weight as you build up. So, you might be starting at 6, 8, 10, 12 pounds. Eventually, maybe you get the advanced weight vests and you're going up to 42 pounds all the way. So there's a good set of progression in there as you get stronger over the months of your marathon training. And it's just good all around core fitness strength, working obviously the core, the lower back, the lower abs, especially the hips, the glutes, but then even working the lower limbs from doing the calf raises with the weighted vest, or the split squats, working the hamstrings, glutes, and quads. So that's a great way to integrate this product into your overall strength training routine to build resistance, along, of course, with your running training. So what do you think about your marathon training, and what kinds of products do you use when you are training for a marathon? I'd love to hear that, so comment below with your answer to that. All right, so now you've seen some of my strength routine. Still running, decent mileage. I have been adding ski miles in there. We generally run, over 100K a week at least, 60, 70, 80 miles a week, with more quality workouts, more threshold, more turnover speed, getting into some VO2 max workouts, track workouts coming up on the way, probably tapering off on the hill workouts and the super hard long run workouts. But 3 weeks out, got to start tapering down in the last 2 weeks, more to speak, but still keeping up some intensity and leg turnover as we get into these final weeks. And again, big thanks to Sportneer sponsoring this video. Again, check out the products in the link below. They did gift me the weight vests, as well as it is a paid product promotion, full disclaimer. But really do appreciate their support, as well as keeping the dream alive. Thank you again for all your support, Patreon supporters, for keeping this channel alive. Thanks again for all the subscriptions, views, and likes. Hope you're doing well, and stay tuned for more VO2 Max Productions.